after 3 months. Should I turn off my camera so that colleagues online sees me as well? So dear colleagues, this is Levent from UNHCR. Today I'm going to give this presentation, this briefing on behalf of the Information Management Working Group. As Mustafa explained, we're going to go Activity Info, and we hope that this training will help with the missing parts with regards to how to use Activity Info, and that from today onwards, all of the sector partners will be able to use Activity Info in confidence. So before going into the tool itself, maybe we can talk a bit about what Activity Info is. And now this is a bit weird because I can see part of the colleagues here and most of you here. So Activity Info is an online database which is widely used for response monitoring, and this is how we are utilizing in Turkey as well. The reason why we are using Activity Info is it was something we used before the earthquake response in response to the refugee situation in Turkey, and most of our partners are quite familiar with it. The structure is very similar to what you've seen for the refugee response, but roughly we locate or we collect metadata on the service location, and then under the service location for each sector, we have indicators based on the monitoring and evaluation framework developed by the sector coordinators and the sector partners. It is to respond to the needs arising from the earthquake, and all of the indicators are linked to that one for different sectors. The details are different for sectors. So for some sectors, we are collecting input level indicators. For some sectors, it's only at the output level. And so it is, the meta information is same for all of it, but the level of indicators can be different. And the reporting frequency is different based on the sector's requirements. So for some sectors, it's monthly. For some sectors, it's bi-weekly. And this is all done in consultation with the sector partners and sector requirements. So that's why there are some changes or nuances between the sectors. So I will share my screen to show everyone how the tool looks and what is needed from the sector members and what can be done using the Activity Info. Just give me a second and I can show. Cool. First time I don't need to ask if you can see the screen. So this is, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the interface already. This is the welcoming page of Activity Info. You can see trash bin of databases folders. This is because we've been using Activity Info in Turkey since 2016. So there are many databases where you can report against for different purposes. So for today's sake, we will go under the intersector response monitoring database. So in order to have access, you need to reach through the sector coordinator, sector IMs, and ask for access, and then we will give you an access, which means you are given a license. And with that license, I mean, if you have other databases, you can also access those as well. So if you're a part of the cross-border operation in Turkey, you can access the same databases, or if you're already given a license, you will not be using an additional license from the Turkiye response. So once you go under the relevant folders, and I mean, you may have access to multiple folders. So what's important for today's sake and for the earthquake response sake is you need to go under the intersector response monitoring because that's where we have all the sectoral activities. We have different databases for different activities. Like if you are reporting for the CBI 3W, you can have access, or you may have access to intersector mapping database. Or if you are part of the protection sector, you may have access to other monitoring databases. So it is frozen. Sorry. Okay. Active here. So I'll go to the intersector reporting database. Here, once you get access to the database, you'll see a structure which includes the sectors, the earthquake response, and some databases from the previous. So Again, for the earthquake response, I will show you how it is done for 8 of the sectors, and then I'll show you how the protection sector is working. So once you get access, and you may have different levels of access for different folders. So under, I mean, if you go under earthquake response, you will see the structure, you'll see all of the sectors at one, under one page. This may be different for everyone because you may have access to shelter, protection, or health, and you may not have access to the remaining of the sectors. So if you don't see a relevant sector to your use, please let us know, and we will give you the access for those sectors as well. So once you gain, or once you go under one of the sectors, what you see is, if you have not reported at all, you'll see a blank page. Now, because I have admin access, I can see all partner reports, but what was agreed again at the intersector level is the partners will only see what they are reporting in the activity info, and we'll be editing only their organization's data. They're not going to see other partners reporting from this interface, or will be able to update it or edit it. The only colleagues who have access to see all are the sector coordinators and the sector IMs, and they are able to edit, but the activity info gives us the opportunity or chance to see who edited, like it logs all of the activities. So if you see something is not correct or something was changed since the last time you edited or you updated, you can see who made the change. So first, I'll show you how it looks like, and then I'll show you how the reporting works. So on the first page, this is the meta information for the service locations. We know some partners may be reporting from one central location to provide services throughout the country, or some partners may have locations in the neighborhoods just providing services to those to that neighborhood. Or well, sometimes to district, etc., or the province. So what we have here is we've asked partners to report on or report against their service locations, and under that service location, they are required to report against activities which reach out to the people in need. If you have multiple service locations in multiple districts or multiple provinces, you need to report them or create them separately one by one. So each location or each entry represents one location, which is for the earthquake response for a different population group, and we will see what I mean by it, but there are some attributes which are mandatory and required to be edited or entered separately. So on this front page or on this page, what we are seeing is the reporting partner information, the location, province and district. If there is further detail on the name of the neighborhood, etc., that can also be reported. But here for this partner, for UNHCR, it is missing. Then we see how the coverage is happening. So here, district-wide coverage from the service point. Then we have a bit on a line on supporting agency. This is for situations where you are not receiving the funds directly from the donor agencies, but through an intermediary partner, which could be an INGO, NGO, or an UN agency. If you are receiving funds directly from the donors, we are asking you to put your own agency's name here so that we can see that this is a direct implementation by the reporting partner. So the first partner is the implementing reporting partner, this one, and the second one is for the supporting agency. Then we are asking if the activity is funded by the flash appeal or if it's funded by or funded through repurposed cash. Then we are asking who is benefiting with regards to nationality. Here, I mean, knowing the area, Turkish citizens, Syrians, and refugees from other populations or foreigners from other nationalities are also here. So we want to understand who's benefiting. Then we are asking if the program through this location and everything reported under this indicator is targeting individuals with disabilities specifically. Individuals with disabilities may benefit from the activities. This doesn't mean that this needs to be selected. Yes, the program needs to be targeting individuals with disabilities. So through this, we are and we have a field for comments. So if you have any comments, like sometimes partner put you can see the details. It could be anything. Sometimes partner put the address, sometimes they put some information just for themselves to see, but this is so all of it. And I'll show you how the data entry is done. This is just to see what was reported by this partner. And as I said earlier, you can also see the logo, all of the information. So when you go under the history, you can see for this meta information, meta field, who created it, when it was created, what was reported, what was changed, and if it's amended again, you can see what happens. You can revert back all this to the previous stage from the admin page. So if at one stage you see something was changed by mistake or something needs to be reverted, reach out to us and we can revert back the changes. So this is how it looks once the entry is done. I'll show you how an entry is happening. So this is the data entry page. It is very similar, both for the indicator reporting and for registering or recording the service location. So the first field, as I explained, is the implementing partner, reporting partner. Here, I mean, the reason why we are following this kind of structure is in the refugee response, what we've seen is sometimes the implementing partner may be different, the partner receiving the funds. So instead of having double work for both of the partners and to make sure that the implementing partners are also visible because they are the ones who is in fact doing the implementation, I mean, this is done, of course, it evolved into this kind of approach. We encouraged implementing partners to report, but not to lose who's funding them. We put that supporting agency attribute as well, so we can track who implements with whose funds, and when we track against certain targets, we can see how the appealing agencies' funds are being allocated against the target they set for the given activity. So it works that way. So once the implementing partner is selected, and by the way, you can only see the organizations you're associated with, so you will not see the full list of partners. I mean, now that I have access to full list of partners, you'll only see your organization's name only. If you're given access to multiple, but well, you can see different partners' names as well. Then we're asking the province name and district to be selected. So this is, I'm just going to select Ankara Çankaya because this is a dummy entry. And I know the list is not sorted with, well, the earthquake affected provinces first, but you can easily search by typing into the empty cell. If you know the neighborhood, if it's in a specific neighborhood, you can also put it here, but this is not a mandatory field. If from this location you provide services to nationwide or to province only or relevant attribute, then we're asking for the supporting agency. As I said, this is the intermediary partner who receives the funds from the donor. So I can put UNHCR or I can put my own agency, and all partners will have access to all lists, the full list, so you can select. If the activity is funded by the flash appeal, then this is where you're selecting it. We know partners who are operating in the earthquake affected area may not be receiving funds through the flash appeal, but still working towards the earthquake. So for those partners, they can select no. What we are tracking here is how we are responding to the earthquake, now how the flash appeal is performing. So this is it. Then if you know the donor agency, I mean, if you have that information, you can select the donor agency. This list comes from the OCHO FDS, so it's a very wide list. If a partner or if a donor agency is missing, if it's a small donor or if it's like private donors, etc., please try to stick with the available list. If it's a big donor missing, then we can add the list, but we don't want to repopulate the list because this is matching with what's available out there. Then if there are multi-donors, because we know.
That's the question. So if it's a small donor, you can leave it blank or?
No, you can, don't leave it blank. There is I think other donors should be available. Let's see. It can be other donors. And if partners wants to specify the name of the donors, we can leave a comment box, which when appears when the other donors is selected. This is, I mean, but only a few have selected other donors. If the location is funded by donor, then you can select the number of donors funding the location. And we know, like, let's say in a project where I'm just going to share, select UNHCR. So let's say I'm funded by UNHCR and UNHCR receives funds from PRM, from ECHO, and from one other donor. So I can select, if I know, I can select 3 donors. If in that location I'm funded by both, let's say, Save the Children and UNHCR, then I need to create separate lines for those 2 supporting agencies. So one line for UNHCR, one line for Save the Children, and all indicator reporting needs to be done separately for different supporting agencies. So I'm just going to select one. Then after the once the donor is selected, the nationality needs to be selected as well. So here we have the list for Turkish citizens, Syrians, Afghan individuals from other nationalities, and Ukrainians. If in the location, I mean, if you have a project targeting specifically Turkish citizens, but Syrians or individuals from nationalities can also benefit from those, and it's difficult to segregate between different nationalities, then just select Turks or Syrians or other nationalities and report include them. But if you have separate projects, or if the numbers are, I mean, the project may be only for Turkish citizens, but there is maybe 40 to 60% individuals coming from different nationalities. So try to break it down. I mean, if it's only out of 100,000 people, one person is from different nationality, there's no need to create a separate entry. But if you know the difference is huge and it's important to I mean, it will make a significant difference. So in that case, please separate the nationalities. And as I said, finally, we have the individuals with disabilities breakdown. So if the activities are targeting individuals with disabilities, please select it. If the individuals with disabilities are included but not targeted specifically, then you don't need to select yes here. So this is how the meta information is created. Once this information is entered, then the reporting period or the reporting activity starts. You don't need to recreate the same information every month. So this needs to be created only once in the beginning of the reporting period, and each month or each reporting period you need to come back and report against your activities. And I'm sorry for messing with the shelter sector database. I'll clean it. I'll keep it clean. So once the meta information is created, the reporting period starts. What you need to do is you need to come back into this shelter sector or the sector database, find the relevant one. So as you can see, we have multiple here. I think both are created by myself, yes, in different times. So you need to come back and find the page where the indicators are located. So here we have them all under activity reporting, and there's nothing because we have not reported yet. So when you click add record, this is where you're asked to report against a time period. So for this case, I think it's bi-weekly. So first you select the time periods, and then you start reporting against the relevant indicators. This is mostly you enter numbers, but there are some indicators which requires further information. And the unit of reporting is also available next to it. So some indicators requires individual level reporting, some requires household level. So let's say, I mean, it's very simple. I'm just going to put the number, then it will ask me with a follow-up question, what kind of support was provided. And then, I mean, once everything is selected, once the submission is done, once your reporting is done, you can click save record. And this is, so it's as easy as this. But as you can see from here, from this page, so some questions have follow-ups. So it brings up additional indicators which needs to be reported. What is important here is to be as precise as possible. We know in some locations, I mean, these are mostly items distributed or household benefiting, but when the indicator requires you to report on age gender breakdown, it's important to be as precise as possible. If the information is not available, we suggested sectors, we suggested partners to use the available data and disaggregate based on the proportion of individuals living. So you can use the SSDTM data or the Turkstat data, which is available for Turkish citizens, and break it down by age and gender. So this is how the shelter sector is reporting. I'll go to another sector, but it's more or less the first as I created.
Maybe at the same time we can take some questions if there is already any, because like basically I just want to remind something that's like you are filling in not two different forms, but it's like two supporting each other forms. One of them is like the more of a metadata of that. Where are you doing this activity? Who is your supporting organization? Who is giving you the donor? Are you like focused on the refugees mainly, on like the Turkish citizens? And it's mainly focused on the disabilities. We are trying to understand the metadata, the main information of the response. Then in the subform, we are asking additional, like how many people reached, how many, like it depends on the each sector's different questions, but like how many blankets you distributed, it's important, how many women that you reach, how many female children, etc. These type of questions that we are generally asking. So maybe if you can also show that how they can populate the same information as well, because you don't need to like the same information again and again. If you have a metadata information, it does some actually you can replicate the information again. So it's going to be easier as well.
I'll go to a less used sector to show. Multiple supporting partners, agencies, it's not editable. I mean, it's not possible. We urge partners to create separate lines for separate supporting agencies, because your activities will go towards that supporting agencies' appeal and targets. It's important to keep it separate. So what I will show now is I will export the data from the shelter. So exporting works, I mean, to add on or to build on what Mustafa said, is an easy way of populating the list is exporting the available data and importing it into to a different sector or within the sector with small changes. So I will show you how that works. All of the metadata line is it's same for all sectors. So if you created your locations in one sector, you can easily export the data and re-import it under a different sector. Or if you want to report against multiple locations with regards, I mean, against the indicators, you can still use the same format, export the Excel with the indicator list and import with the updated with the indicators that you want to report against, which I'll also show separately. First, I need to change the way I share my screen. Okay, now you can see everything. I don't know if you've seen it, but I clicked on the export to export the data we have in this shelter sector, and it will give me this exam. Okay, so here you can see all of the attributes that were available. So all titles are coming directly from the activity info. It matches with what was reported or what was shared. So if I want to, let's say, I'll just delete everything and keep only UNHCR. So I can import this information directly, or if I can make small changes. Let's say, well, I can.
Yes.
So I can change, let's say, in some of the locations, Syrians are benefiting, or I can, I'll just do this. So I have same locations. I'll just read the titles, but this time it is for Turkish citizens. So I'll just change this information to Turkish. Then I'll have the same for individuals with disabilities. Right. So this way I can easily populate the list and select all of it with one go. If I go back to one of the sectors, we played with the shelter many times, so I'll use the TSS this time. I'll just paste the data into this. First I clicked on the import button, then I paste the data into the empty field. So first, the activity info will automatically match all of the relevant fields. It will. Okay, sorry, I unmuted myself by mistake. So it will first automatically match all of the available fields. Sometimes, it's important that you check if the matching is done properly, because sometimes if the field names are close to each other, then activity info may make mistake by mismatching the fields. But once everything is matched, you can just click continue, and it will show you where it will show the cells where there are no information, no data, or missing data. If there is a mandatory field with no data, it will not accept it. So it will not allow you to proceed from the previous screen. But it will also show you the number of records to be added. If there is a record to be updated, then it will also show that information. Or if there are fields with the same mandatory, or if there are lines with the same mandatory fields, it will also tell you that there are duplicate information, duplicate records, so it will ignore some of them. So once you click on done, everything will be important, and you'll have the same information, same data, which we had under shelter, under the TSS sector. So this time the indicators will be different. Here, the sector, as you can see, have different levels of indicators, and you can easily come here and start reporting against these indicators. So this is how the metadata is populated. What we can also do is we can populate the reporting bit, indicator reporting. What needs to be done here is a preparation is needed, and it's very easy. So the first report for at least like one of the location needs to be done manually. So I'll just select something, and I'll just put 0 to this indicator. What we need is this line to be created. Once the line is created, once you click on show all records, it will not show anything other than this one. But what's important is we need the parent ID for this for this reporting partner. And once I click the export button with selected columns, with all parent columns, it will give me all of the information, indicators plus the meta information. We are just going to use the parent ID. And this is how it should look. Not this. Well, no, but this. Okay, it's not showing all of the partners, but anyways. So you can see the parent ID, which matches with the meta. So once we import the data, we need to link the metadata, match the metadata with the reporting indicator, I mean, with the reporting page data. It should be right, so you can see it. I assume everyone sees. So you can see the list of the indicators here. I mean, once you export and import it, it will match automatically, as I said, but it may require you to play with it. So you are only asked to report on the disaggregations, not the aggregated indicator, because aggregations are happening automatically. So if you just populate this Excel with this information, with the numbers, with the indicators to be reported, when you go back into activity info, paste the data, it will again match the available fields. So here we need to ignore some. Many actually. But what is matching will match.
This kind of is going to be useful, especially if you will still want to somehow follow Excel-based data collection in your organization itself as well, because generally we are having one single focal point for each organization, but sometimes the reporting inside the organization can be through the multiple people. You can just like export your form once, and afterwards you can collect the data from there. But just I want to remind something on this thing. The most important part is actually why we are using ActivityInfo is this too. It's a proper database to collect everything with the correct data types to be able to analyze and clean so easily. In the regular Excel-based data collection, data cleaning takes days, sometimes 2 weeks. Because like the sector IMOs needs to consolidate all this information from multiple partners, from let's say from 30 different partners, and they need to clean their information. And sometimes a partner, for example, it says that number of individuals reached instead of like 1,000, they are saying that approximately 900 to 1,000, this type of things as well. ActivityInfo helps us on this type of things, like having already a properly clean data. Sectors are making a basic verification on it. So even if you're inside of your organization doing like this, like following up through the Excel, then afterwards importing to ActivityInfo, you still need to like try to be clean as much as possible. We are having some questions in the room.
Speaking to clear data, how we can edit our information if we mistakenly edits enter some information.
We will have a look on this to show them how we can edit the already recorded information.
For the reporting data for the second sheet, I've been facing this problem recently, so I couldn't like upload the data.
Yeah, normally it works. Yeah, yesterday I
Even
imported.
like it's been 2 weeks for this problem.
Yeah, normally it works with no problem. I don't know why it's acting weird today. It could be because of the connection, but I'll see. But what I've done yesterday is for the protection sector, so for the protection sector, I just copied all of the information that comes from a different database and pasted all of it under this one. It's the same information, but the validation happened very quickly. So I believe it's because of the connection issue. But I will have a look. Normally it works pretty fast. I mean, the validation part works pretty fast, depending on the lines to import. It takes some time, but it doesn't take longer than 5 minutes or I don't know how many times.
If you can show them one of the edits.
So anyway, so I'll go back to the TSS. The edit works. I mean, maybe sometimes when colleagues go into the tool, they see this right bar collapsed. You need to uncollapse it, open it, and then it will show you the option to edit, print, or delete record. And you can also see the history, the logs. When you click on edit record, it will bring down all the data that you entered, so you can easily change something, go under a different one, edit the location, etc. And once you're done, just click on save record, and it's as easy as this. And you can see like what was the change, who changed it, when it was changed, etc. very easily. And to change the indicator reporting, it is also very easy. Let me find another line with tests reports. Okay, so if you go to the indicator reporting, you can click on edit record and find the relevant indicators, change the value, change the attributes that is needed. So for some cash related indicator, we have sub questions or follow-up questions which are required to be entered. Once all those are done, you can click on save, and then the edit is done very easily. As I said, you can track who made the change, what was it changed from, to what, etc. So everything is easy to bring back. So this is how the reporting is done, and what we can do with the reports is the next step. Within Activity Info, you can generate reports, very simple reports to well, to be shared for quick, for quick analysis, etc. So I'll just go to protection sector to show you how the report works. But I mean, this again, like you'll only see your own agency's inputs in this page. But roughly, you can use like one of the features here, or you can go to my reports and create. And here you can see the number of partners, number of districts with partner presence located. And this can be generated with other information. So this is a very simple reporting. You can change the base map, the different ones. You can use a density map with the population coming from the Turk stats, etc. Or you can use something else. Let me go back to protection to show you. You can use all the data and click on analyze to either create one of these infographics, let's say a bar chart with the data that I need. So I can put the reporting partner into x-axis, and then I can bring an indicator here. It will show me a comparison of which partners reached out to how many people within the reporting period. You can also bring like the series can be the reporting periods. Where is it? So you can see like how it looks when things are compared. I mean, you can change the visual. I can change the partner. See how the change happens those months. Or I mean, you can put a pie chart, etc. I mean, it's a very simple thing, but it just shows the required information in a very quick manner. One other feature with this is you can also create a simple dashboard with multiple of these infographics. So we can add a header block, say this is protection sector, plus something, and I can put a UNHCR logo, or I don't know, just put UNHCR logo. Okay. Then I can put one of the infographics. So I'll just put the district map, province with the indicator, selected indicator. Then I can put a couple small graphics, let's say pivot table with partner numbers, something. And then, I mean, it looks ugly, I know, this one, but if you play with it, it works better. I can also save the report as a test report. Then share this, publish this as a web page, as a standalone web page. And I mean, this way you can easily share what you've done. It doesn't look beautiful, but it is something. And again, when you spend time on it, you can make something cohesive. Or another way is all the data that's collected in ActivityInfo is linked to Power BI and visualized using Power BI. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. And I'll show you how it looks, how the data can be used. And this is something the OCHA colleagues are now working on. I'll just show you something from the protection sector from 2022. So this is how we've used the data to visualize and to analyze to support the response for the refugee response. But all the data was linked to ActivityInfo, everything was visualized, and at the end of each reporting period, the dashboard was updated automatically, so we can easily track who was working where, how many people were reached against the indicators, in total, how many people benefited from the protection services. With the attributes, we can track I mean, how the partners have implemented, in which areas, which partners reached out to how many people against the reporting period, etc. So everything was available and easily shareable, both with the partners, with the sectors, with the donors, and the external audience, etc. So this is how the ActivityInfo works, how the reporting is working, and how the reporting or dashboard generation is working. This is all from my side. Any questions?
Okay, we have a question, I think, from analyze future use data of my agency. Not all reporting partners. Yes, that's true. Of course, you are going to, I mean, the sector IMOs are going to be able to see more partners because it's like a hierarchical systems, actually. It's like the sectors have more partners, so that's why they're able to see their own partners. So that's why they can analyze a little bit more. But when it comes to like the OCHA, I mean, at the central level, we can see the all partners too. That's why it's actually we are trying to streamline the process as much as possible to like make these reportings easy, and also like the the results we want to show with the dashboards too. But of course, if you connect your data to ActivityInfo as well, you can develop your own dashboards too to reflect that what are you doing on that month, of that specific period as well, and you're tracking your records too. I think we have a hand. Yes, Merve.
Hello, thank you for the explanation. I have a very 101 question actually. I'm very new to this platform and I tried to sign in but couldn't. So I was wondering if you have mentioned how to create an account.
Okay.
To get an account, you need to reach out to your sector IM and ask them to give you access.
In which sector?
That doesn't ring a bell at all. I'm sorry. My sectoral who?
Which sectors are you working under?
Education.
Then you can reach out to UNICEF colleagues, the UNICEF coordinator. Through the coordinator, they can share your request with the sector IMs, and then they will give you access.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe additional, if you can send your email to me as well, so we can definitely have a look, because in some of the partners we saw that actually sectors are already sent their invitations, but some of the partners didn't realize that they received the invitations, so they didn't go for it. I mean, I caught many partners actually they received the invitation, but they didn't continue afterwards too. It is possible, there is no problem on it. Just you can send your email to me and the sectors that you are working. If there is an issue with the registration to the ActivityInfo, if you are not able to access the system at all, just you can send. I am going to share my email address again in here in the chat as well. So if you can share, definitely I will try to reach out to you and check that did you receive the invitation, or if you're not, we can try to definitely register to the system. Afterwards, you were able to add your information into as well here. Any other question?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you, Mustafa? How are you, colleagues? This is Mohammed from TSS. Thanks, Levent, for the explanation. I mean, I really appreciate this session. I just have two questions. Who has the edit form permission? I mean, not IAM sector, right? This is the first one. The second one is just to make sure we are on the same page. So the report frequent based on the nationality. I mean, import data feature is looks very great, but I'm talking about like, let's say the formal report. So it will be based on the nationality and the week within the month. This is my questions.
So for the edit access, all sector IAMs should have access to edit the forms. If you don't, we can check, but I think you'll be able to edit at least the indicator part with no problem. For the reporting, so I mean, each service location requires minimum level of attributes to be selected. Nationality is one of those. All the mandatory fields that are available at the meta location are the ones that are needed to desegregate. So it's the nationality of the individuals. I mean, programs targeting individuals with disabilities, the province, of course, the district, the service provision coverage, the flash appeal or funded by flash appeal parts, the supporting agency, etc. All these are the desegregations which are required at the higher level. After these are selected, then it's only the months of reporting, or well, reporting frequency. It could be months or 5. And thank you, Inigo, for sharing.
For the activity info, I mean, it's actually the positive side of the using an activity info as a tool like this is actually, it's an online database at the end of the day. So you will be able to access through the some other complicated softwares too. This includes the R as well. If you want to make an extensive data analysis, which we are constantly doing actually, so you can able to access to. Thanks Inigo for sharing the information, and also of course with the Power BI it is a direct connection too, and so you can reflect. Okay, any other question? Feel free, guys, because this is the time that. Okay, maybe I can give a little bit like background on what's happening, because generally we are talking about the data parts as well, but what are we going to use this data is kind of a little bit like important too. First, we are kind of coming at the end of Flash Appeal too. Right now we are in preparation of humanitarian dashboard that we can capture all the information, all the response that we have in here. One thing is I mean, as a Turkish colleague, as someone who is working in Turkey a bit, I can directly say that some of the partners have already some understanding, but some of the partners, they are not that much of getting and engaged to these kind of systems too. These type of tools is really important to show a partner's performance and visibility of a partner too, because I was in Hatay for weeks. I know that many of the NGOs in there, they are doing an amazing job, but just because of the reporting is a little bit like poor, because what we are in a mentality is actually like, no, we need to support it first. Yes, that's true. We need to support and we need to help the people first, but afterwards, definitely we need to handle our reporting too, to show and make a visibility from our performance as well at the same time. And when we are coming at the end of Flash Appeal very soon, this information is going to be very useful for us. We are going to use all from since February until April to create a dashboard and show how the UN and the partners are doing the performance too. I'm pretty sure that your sector coordinators and your sector MOs are reaching out to you to complete all your reporting until end of April. So just get in touch with them or just get in touch with us on this thing to support you as much as possible too. I also put this like the A3 and A4. I can send as a notice on this meeting as well. What are we going to do with the latest information too, and how we are using as well. So it's going to be extra beneficial for you to understand what is going to happen with your data in general too. But by the way, I want to remind something. A partner is already sometimes some of the partners are making submission to the multiple sectors, including food, wash, and protection. Protection was already started, and food and wash, they have their own systems as well for data collection. But these sectors are still obliged to put their response to. Regarding this thing, if you don't want to make multiple reporting, just inform your sector that which part that you are filling. Because, for example, Levent in here, he's working as a protection AMO as well. So he is not making a double data collection just for first protection, then afterwards the activity info, the overall general activity info as well. We are basically importing all this information that he's collecting for the protection in there and importing to the activity info in the same system that we showed to you is actually. So if you have an issue on this, just reach out to your sector AMO as well, so he can support you. So you don't need to double report for sure. Any other?
Yeah,
questions?
just to check whether all the partners online and here know who their sector coordinator and sector IMO is, in case they have a question to raise. So if you are not sure, you can write to me and Mustafa, and then we can connect you.
Any other question from the online colleagues? By the way, there was a small question that came. It's actually Levent already answered, but I can inform everybody on this thing too. Reaching out to your data. Again, it's like a hierarchical system. Sector IMOs able to reach all the sector data collected through this partner for that activity. At OCHA, we are able to reach out to all data, and each partner is able to reach their own data and make the necessary edits all the time as well. Our database is open on these type of things. Another question? Okay, then we can actually close the training session directly. Thank you for your participation, and thank you so much for happening for all your reportings and all your activities on the ground too. Definitely it means a lot, and it's showing your consistency on it. And thank you, Levent, for coming and helping us on this training today. Again, we are going to be open for 30 minutes to answer all your questions in here for the bilaterals as well. If you have any issues, you can just tell us. And thank you, colleagues, for online. By the way, again, as I informed earlier, we are going to upload this video to online because we already have a Turkish version. Then I'm going to able to share with this thing together. So we will have Turkish and English, all the video that anytime that you can reach, and we will be here as well. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
What is last thing?
Could you please share the tool link?
Sure. Of course.
Thank you.